Scientists actually classify water stress as a situation where the total amount of water withdrawals are very close to the actual supply. So it's a supply and demand issue. We're taking out too much and putting our water resources under pressure. So let's focus on a couple of maps which really bring out the situation for us. But anything that really is orange or red on the maps that we're going to see indicate a high amount of water stress. So that ratio of supply and demand is particularly high. Let's focus on the world map to start with, Bradan, and you'll see in the northern hemisphere, India and Eastern Europe, a fair amount of red and orange. But take a quick look at South Africa and you'll see patches of red and orange, particularly in the western and northern parts of the country. So let's focus and quickly take a look at the South African map, and you'll get a very clear sense of that as we hone in and focus in particularly on Cape Town. Of course, Cape Town was ravaged by day zero just over a year ago. The fears around day zero, Bradan. Take a look also at Pretoria and Johannesburg, those major metro areas, largely orange and red, as well as the northern parts of KwaZulu-Natal. So those really are areas of concern in terms of water stress. And if we focus on our neighbours, Bradan, I want to throw out an important stat here. South Africa actually has less water per person than Botswana and Namibia. Parts of Botswana and Namibia are under a lot of water stress because it's hard to actually get access to their water. But in terms of actual water per person, Bradan, South Africa trailing behind two of its neighbours. That's Botswana and Namibia. And let's focus quickly on the water stress score. This is something that scientists use to assess the level of water stress in a country. The maximum amount of water stress is linked to a score of 5. South Africa now at just under 3. Anything above 3 is regarded as a high amount of water stress. We're not there yet, but government and scientists saying we are getting very, very close, Bradan, to a high level of water stress.
And of course, because of that, government has been appealing to us as consumers to say that we need to cut back. So where are the hotspots currently?
Well, let's focus very quickly on the provinces as we bring up those stats, Bradan. And you'll see the Western Cape, of course, historically under a large amount of water stress. Remember, the highest level is 5. The Western Cape ranked at just over 4. The Northwest and Limpopo, where we've seen a lot of drought-related issues, also above 3, and Gauteng, as I mentioned, hovering around about the national average at 2.86. But let's quickly focus, Bradan, on dam levels across the country, which is also an important step when we assess our water situation. Gauteng doing relatively well with 86%. The Free State, not too bad at 71%. Remember, parts of the Free State actually supply the Gauteng water system. The Western Cape doing okay considering where we were last year. It's standing at 67%. But those last 3, Bradan, are really the areas of concern. Eastern Cape, Northwest and Limpopo. Government issued a warning last week, Bradan, saying that it is watching the water levels in these provinces particularly closely, and specific areas are also under a large amount of water stress. So those provinces will be important to watch over the next few months.
You know, I'm just looking at those stats there with the dam levels and where in the country are we stressed water-wise. And I'm thinking about what Professor Mike Muller told our colleague Olimgambi in an interview earlier. He's saying, I mean, with that kind of amount of water, we can do well. Our problem today is that we're not planning in advance.
Absolutely.
And Southern Africa suffers from a cycle of cycles of drought, so we need to plan. So it's not like we have no water. We have some water, but we need to look after it. We need to conserve and cut back a bit and do a lot of advanced planning.
That's right. Well, of course, we do receive much less water than the global average in terms of rainfall, Bradan. But as Prof. Muller was saying, Prof. Mike Muller, it's all about infrastructure and planning, building the dams 6 to 7 years in advance of when we're actually going to need them.
Thank you very much, Michael Marillier.